Hi guys, welcome back. I'm top music attorney, Miss Crystal. I'm just realizing that my coffee mug it says "Get your jingle on." So I have a very seasonal kind of mug, which is just going to bring that much more cheer to this not only show but the various segments we're going to be getting into. So we have a great show planned for you today. As always, we get into all of entertainment news updates, things that are breaking in the news, all things pop culture, and we not only give kind of a back and forth. I'll have my show producer come on and we're going to talk about what's going on in the news, but I give you legal commentary to explain all the legal baseline of how these things work. And so you guys can learn to think like lawyers. So we are going to be getting into some interesting stories today. We're covering Evanescence, Pepsi, and a number of other really cool things that are happening. As always, I will be bringing in my show producer, That ORKO. Now, I don't think That ORKO knows this, and we're going to be actually doing a little review ski later on in the show, but today is actually the anniversary of this channel. And I saw it on our calendar because I'm not going to pretend like I remember anything ever, but I do have a reminder and it's kind of cool. So I appreciate those of you who are on this stream. This is the official anniversary of starting this channel. And you know what? We've come a long way. We've tried a lot of different things. Hey, Brandon, New Zealand. Hey, my mom is from New Zealand and I'm actually Kiwi. Hi, Ben. Good evening. Good evening. Hello from Massachusetts. So we are broadcasting from Arizona. And right now, per usual, we're broadcasting on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you're not on YouTube, come over to Top Music Attorney and subscribe here. We are going to be going live 3 to 5 times every week in the evening. We're going to be checking in and just kind of hanging out. Let's hang out. Let's chat. I'll give you some newsy things. Let's talk about what's going on. Happy anniversary. Thank you very much. Some of you are just checking in real quick. Hello to Canada. Amazing. Yeah, I mean, guys, for starting this channel, this was kind of a departure because when I started doing these videos, they were a little more legal based, right? So I was doing tips for artists. I mean, it's what I do every day. I'm an entertainment attorney. So I'm helping artists and record labels and filmmakers and film distributors. I mean, just everyone across the board in the film industry. I'm in the trenches. I'm doing these big deals. It's a ton of fun. And so part of this channel is geared towards, some entertainment value, but really it's to educate you guys. So even if you are obviously not, intending on becoming an attorney, you're not a law student, that you guys can still take some of these perspectives and best practices home and to have it in your back pocket, right? I'm teaching you about contracts and your trademarks and copyright, and it applies to everything that most of us do in our careers as business owners. I had to pay $200,000 to get my law degree, and I'm sharing all of this for free. So if you're not subscribed on YouTube, please come over to Top Music Attorney. Do all the YouTube-y things. Hello, hello. All right, guys. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Hi, guys. I'm Top Music Attorney, Miss Crystal. I'm an entertainment attorney, public speaker, and creator of the Top Music Attorney School for artists and record labels. I'm the owner of Dukes Up Records, and most importantly, I'm an independent artist. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss my weekly videos giving you my best tips on the music business, industry news updates, and teaching you how to stay legally protected. Hey, let's go. So yeah, when we get into the kind of little anniversary tribute segment of the show, I'm going to be showing you guys the first video that we ever published on Top Music Attorney. And you can kind of just see some of the differences of where we've come and where we started, and it might be cringeworthy. You know how it sometimes goes when you're starting, but we're going to do it together. Now, let me jump over to the chat real fast. You guys, I appreciate being here. Pool Noodle, can I have your username, please? Thank you so much. In fact, I was just getting into some music stuff before the start of the show. We're trying to do a lot more of checking in and hanging out with you guys and giving you updates and legal notes and tips, but obviously I'm still working on my record. I'm an independent artist, as it said in the intro. And I'm so excited to be finally kind of, getting close to being done with this new record. For a lot of you, musicians, producers, record label owners, you know that, making a good record takes time and you just kind of want to tear your hair out sometimes, but it's also the most magical thing you'll do. Hi, Monica, on Facebook from Iowa. New album coming soon. That's right. All right. So, on our docket today of newsy stories that we are covering, we're going to jump things or start things. We're jumping things. No. We're starting things off with a story on Evanescence. Okay. So, I'm going to bring that ORKO in and we're going to get into all of it.
Hello,
All right, that
hello.
ORKO.
What's good,
Hello.
everybody? Welcome to the stream.
So our last Evanescence video that we released on this channel was actually reacting to an interview that Amy Lee had done, and she was getting into all of the gory details with her
Yeah.
record label deal and how, basically they had completely shut her down when, there had been this instance of, hey, Amy and band, you guys need to get a male singer to sing with you on all your tracks. And Amy, collectively with the band was like, absolutely not. That's not our thing. We don't want to do that. And then the record label's like, okay, we're not going to pay you money anymore. That's the unfortunate part of being signed with a record label. The label gets to pull the plug on the money if and when it wants to.
That was such a crazy breakdown that you did. We'll be sure to link that video in the description or in the comments. But yeah, no, it's their whole story, just how she just really didn't want to become this band that the record label wanted her to be. They were hot off the heels of Linkin Park was just blowing up at the time. They had that One Step Closer, and so they really wanted to have Evanescence have a similar sound, with the Bring Me to Life song, I believe it was, is what all the controversy was on. And they really kind of shelved them, but Amy went to bat and had to make some compromises and stuff like that, and the rest is history. But
yeah, and I think Amy in the interview, she's like, I had to go home and live with, mom and dad again, like the whole dream of getting signed. And,
oh yeah, that feeling
big
of coming
stars.
home and
Yeah,
everyone's
but look,
expecting.
to Amy's credit, she stuck to her guns and she's like, that's just not what I want to do. Now they ended up meeting in the middle. They still did that song. They still had a male vocalist on it because it was like, this is for a film for sync purposes. And so it will just be a one-off. Now Amy still expressed some concern and she just goes, I don't want people to get confused with my brand and think that this is what it is, especially if the first song is successful. So in any case, we did a full deep dive into that.
She wanted Going Under, I think, to be like her song.
Yeah, and she wanted a different first song, but
so she did some negotiating, which also goes to show that don't be afraid to negotiate. I mean, there was compromises that had to be made, but if you stay independent too, you don't necessarily have to make all those compromises.
Monica says, good for her for standing up for herself. She sounds amazing just with her voice. Yes, she does, and I love all the orchestral versions of their hit songs they've been doing. Amy Lee is badass. I love her. I love her too. And of course, we're getting into the most current breaking news having to do with guitar player for Evanescence, Jen. Now, I'm not sure on her last name. Majura?
What's that?
So Jen, that was my attempt on her last name. So Jen, and let me preface with this. Evanescence put out a post on Instagram and says, basically, after all of these amazing years, I think it was 7 years that Jen has been with the band as the guitar player. We have decided to part ways. We love her so much, wishing, everyone the best. And so it seemed like it was kind of a mutual, just, maybe Jen was going off to pursue something else or be in a new band. That's the impression that I got.
Yeah.
But Jen had something else to say. And so Jen actually went and tweeted and she goes, just to kind of put it out there and clarify, I had no, decision making in this. This was not what I wanted, but I still love Evanescence, positive vibes. So I got to be honest, I'm kind of taking that as she got fired.
She totally got fired. She totally got fired. Are you kidding me? Yeah. But she also doesn't want to ruin her gig. She doesn't want to ruin her legacy. She doesn't want to turn off the Evanescence fans. So she's not going to just start talking trash because she just built, a fan base of her own following her and, being probably a lot of role models to a lot of musicians coming up for the last 7 years, being a part of this very important band. So she doesn't want to kill her legacy with that. So I'm sure she's keeping it nice, but she wants to make it clear though that, I didn't want to quit because I'm sure she's gonna like, why did you leave? Why did you I didn't want to.
So I'm gonna get explaining as an entertainment attorney representing band members in these big bands how this works and why you can be like, we're parting ways, and just that's it. But I saw a comment really fast, Winston. So we've been obviously covering the Amber Heard trial a lot. I have a bruise on my arm. Left forearm is that Amber Heard bruise kit bruise. I was talking to that ORKO before the show, and I go, where did this come from? This looks very much like a fingerprint. Being a little sassy. No, we're good. We're good. In any case, so the way it works when it comes to musicians who sign with bands, they're work for hires. A work for hire just means you're hired by, we'll say the band, but it's not the band. It's the record label, or it's an LLC that owns the band. It's some entity or person. And they'll have you sign a contract that says, hey, you're going to go on tours with us, you will do music videos with us, PR runs, basically the conglomerate of activities as a band that we do, and we get to use your name and likeness, and we get to do whatever we want, but we also can fire you at any point. And so that's very concerning for a lot of touring musicians, right? Especially when sometimes things happen like COVID, right? So some of my national acts that go on these massive tours with these huge bands, obviously there's a whole discussion about them just not being able to earn, but the security that a band member has, I mean, there's really nothing, unless you were the lead singer, that kind of guarantees your position, because in most instances you can't replace the lead singer, right?
Unless you're Van Halen. But the thing is, with this is like the kind of the second big kind of switch that we've seen from a major band. Deftones just went through this exact same thing with Sergio Vega. And he left the band, and they were like, we've decided to Deftones released the statement, we decided to move forward without Sergio on the tour. He's been a part of the band for a long time, and then Sergio was quick to social media. He's like, nope, they, I'm in, but Sergio was one of those things where he wanted to, he was always promised to be made a member of the band, and so
Right.
and to
Right.
participate, because he'd been playing on records, he'd been been a part of it for quite a while, since the last bass player died. But I suspect, I wonder if it's a similar kind of situation. I wonder if she wanted maybe a little bit more, and they were like, no, this is hired gun city. I don't know if but somebody made a comment that that no one fired her, and reading her statement, I kind of have to disagree, because she's saying, I did not want to leave, this was not my choice to leave, they made her
Yeah,
leave.
so
So
call it what you want, right? We don't have to say, "Hey, we're severing your employment," but I mean, again, in practical effect, that's what it is. So Monica on Facebook, I'm way behind on who's in the band. I thought the gentleman was still the one playing the guitar. So actually, Tim McCord, he is the
right,
bass
bass
player
player.
for the band last 14 years. He was announced as stepping up now as lead guitar, and then Emma Enaze, I believe is how you say it, of Puppies, is the one who's coming in now to replace him as bassist.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, and that seems like a natural kind of thing that you see happen a lot of times with bands too. You'll see a bass player will kind of step up, and because it's just a lot easier sometimes for the bass player that's already so much familiar with the songs, and they, a lot of times bass players just want that guitar player spotlight, because just there always seems to be kind of like a hierarchy in bands as far as what position you're played. So that's always looked forward to, but uh, he knows the songs a lot better. I'm sure maybe he's filled in, so it makes it a lot easier for someone to come in and kind of play bass and just kind of figure that out and learn those parts a little bit easier. Not to
Well,
say that
and I know
Evanescence
yeah, and I know that
is
that's
easy
actually
bass
something
players.
that you have had some experience with. We'll get to
Yes.
that in just a second, but Scott, I'm glad you mentioned this. So she's stuck in Germany in 2020, if I remember correctly. My first thought when I kind of was reading this story is I was just really surprised, because I know not only has she been in the band for 7 years, part of the family, but I remember that some of the things that Evanescence was doing and not doing was because of this guitar player, and the fact that they wanted her to be able to go with them. And one of them, I believe, was tour. And so, the Jen was locked down. She wasn't able to travel, right, because of
Oh,
COVID. And so
COVID.
they go, we're
Yep.
not going to do, these performances. So I just remember thinking that obviously this is a very close knit band. They must consider themselves like a family. So to kind of see that there was some parting of ways for whatever reason, right? I mean, this could be something as simple as their personalities conflict. At some point, you just can't do it anymore working together, or someone wants to have a little more control. And going to your point, I've represented band members of not only national but international smash hit bands who will come back and they'll be like, look, I'm being underpaid. I should be getting
Right.
a percentage of all the band earnings. We see this a
Merch.
lot in different territories, especially in like Mexico, for example, and how the band members are treated. And so we'll go in to try to renegotiate, but it doesn't mean they're getting paid what they're worth. And so
Right.
sometimes it'll be like heads butt, and then management says, all right, adios, we'll find someone who will play ball.
Well, no, and it's like, I have over the years being in the, in rock bands and being just in the music scene, I know a lot of people that are hired guns for bands, and they kind of have this situation where where I kind of stuck with my own band and trying to make it kind of successful and do a lot of people in town would just go to larger bands. Like I know people that went to 30 Seconds to Mars or the Marilyn Mansons or just different bands. And, it's a great gig. It's, I'm sure that, Jen is going to be missing the money because when you have, you're on retainer when you're off. So you're sometimes, a lot of times you're in some bands, you're the only one that's constantly getting paid if you're a hired gun because they'll keep you on retainer just to keep you available for when they're not touring. So there's all kinds of different things, but yeah, no, it's a I'm sure she's not missing the gig, or she's missing the gig because she did not want to leave, according to her message.
Winston again. Winston, you just are kind of bringing me smiles inside. As an entertainment lawyer, do you have four-legged clients, i.e., dogs or cats, etc.? No, I would absolutely represent my children, right? My four-legged children on any issues. But usually this stuff comes up because a client of mine, who again is in the entertainment industry, will have a problem with, let's say, a dog bite. We've covered dog bites on this channel and kind of the way it works and how to deal with it. So yes, I have dealt with these situations and fought strongly on behalf of the beloved little ones. All right, so there's
Bruce had
been,
a
let's
comment.
see.
Yeah, it seems they've gone through several guitar players. Bruce is reminding us. I think that, yeah, they've had quite a bit of line changes since the inception of Evanescence. So, and this just happens. This happens like all the time with bands. So
Yeah, so very, very interesting stuff. And then, guys, if you want to see that recap on the interview that I did kind of reacting to Amy Lee, that's also on this channel. Just go search our videos. And then also on the music side, because I love Amy Lee, I love
yes,
Evanescence. So that ORKO actually produced a cover song that I sang on. But we did an Evanescence cover song, which was on the
the
EP.
Call
So
Me
you
When
should
You're
check that
Sober.
out. On the, I think I'm trying to remember which EP it was on. Was it 1 or 2?
It was covers volume 2. We have a covers volume 2 record, and she did a cover of Evanescence's.
Yes. So definitely check that out. All right. So now let's start to move on to the next story. So we're going to talk about Pepsi. Now, this one for me, I get excited about talking about big deals, right? Big business deals happening in the entertainment industry. This is the stuff that's sexy for me. So, basically, we're talking about the renewal of the sponsorship deal between Pepsi and NFL. They have, in fact, renewed, but Pepsi has pulled out and is not going to be the official sponsor for the
Yep.
halftime show moving forward. And there's more that kind of goes into this, but we were diving into all the different halftime shows
Yeah, we were going
in the
through 'em.
last decade and just kind of looking at, what's done well, what's flopped.
And it's interesting because it's like, when you look at where they're ranking and, where the top performing Super Bowl shows that have the most viewership to them, they're all like, if you go to the top 10, 9 of that 10 were Pepsi put on shows. So it is kind of odd that they're kind of just kind of walking away, but they've had really, really huge moments, and then the last few years have just been kind of, they haven't gone back up to those high points yet. The last one with Dr. Dre and all them was like the highest rated Super Bowl or viewed Super Bowl in the last like 6 years. So they had kind of like a
My
low
light
point.
just died. Just because I'm very distracted now. Just so you know, the reason why I suddenly went to darkness was because my light just died and it won't turn on. So sorry about that, guys.
Let me see
Yeah,
what
but
I can do
one of
here.
the things that, for
Hold on,
example, we were
show
looking at.
producer is gonna go produce.
Oh, okay. Well, here I'll hold down the fort. But we were kind of looking at some of the prior shows, and for example, that ORKO and I were watching a documentary about Janet Jackson, and for example, the fiasco, right, with her appearance with Justin Timberlake and the wardrobe malfunction, and basically how that kind of tanked her career for a number of reasons. Not just the fact that the press really went in on her and attacked her. way more than I would say that if it was a male performer and there was some kind of wardrobe malfunction. But that, she did seem to kind of double down when asked to apologize. She didn't want to apologize. Be that, thank you very much. Be that the right or wrong thing to do, I can't make that judgment call. But we did see that her career, suffered a massive blow. And so we kind of look at, the halftime show as this incredible opportunity for any artist to have this exposure because we're looking at the numbers, right? So, in the last 10 years, the average viewership was between, in some instances, 90 million on the upwards of 118 million. And we actually looked at, 1 through 10. And I don't know if you have that, but,
Yeah, I
the
got it
1
right
through
here.
10 of the most popular halftime
So
shows.
so I won't go through all of them, but we'll
Yeah,
we'll do
go
some
on the screen.
highlights.
Go on the screen. Let's take a look.
All right. Let's see what we got
There
here. All right, hold on. Hold on. We're almost there. All right.
we go.
All right. So the number one was Katy Perry, had 118.5 million viewers. And that's really not surprising because I remember when that happened, it was everywhere. They had the whole left shark thing that was like this phenomenon that everybody was dressing up as like the left shark, or was it left shark or right shark? One of the sharks in her
Right.
performance.
No, she had 2
Um,
sharks. There were 2 sharks, but I think
but
one
there was
got a
left
little more
shark
love.
and right shark, but one of
Right,
them
right,
was,
right.
yeah. But I remember that performance just being really good for Katy Perry. Like, I've always kind of like enjoyed Katy Perry. Like, she's fine, but I've never been like a huge fan. I was just like, oh, Katy Perry's doing it. It's like, I don't know if I really cared, but I remember watching that performance and be like, oh man, Katy Perry's awesome. So yeah, no, it was a great one. Of course, no surprise. Who's next? Lady Gaga. I mean,
Yes,
that
I thought
thing,
she look, her performance
endurance.
art and the endurance of what, because again, I saw a little of the behind the scenes of the prep that goes into it. Obviously, this is the same for any of these performances, but Lady Gaga has in her entire career always gone that extra mile, and I thought she put on a phenomenal show. I love the fact that she sings live. She's an amazing singer, and that's, imagine the pressure. It's not, just one song, just one performance, but like, probably one of the most important performances of your life. So she slayed.
Just killed it. Coldplay, but like I remember that. Yeah, but that was a dope one because it wasn't just Coldplay. It was Bruno Mars and I think like Beyonce. Yeah, Beyonce, Bruno Mars, and they did like Uptown Funk. I remember that performance is also really good, but I am kind of surprised that one was so. I mean, maybe that had to do with more of just like who was playing that game. That one's kind of surprising to me.
Ultimate Musings says Metallica needs to do a
Now you
Super
got
Bowl
something.
halftime show.
Now you got something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that would be crazy. Bruno Mars, number 4. He came out. That was the Chili Peppers one. I think that's the one where again, this was another one of those cases where I wasn't really that into like a Bruno Mars. This was before like the whole more Uptown Funky stuff, and he was doing like the Treasures and stuff like that. But I think he's the one where is this the one where he played drums on? I remember one that he was playing
Oh, I know what you're
drums,
talking about.
and I
I
was
know what
just
you're
like,
talking
oh my
about. Yeah.
god, like he was so good. And all of a sudden, I was looking watching him play the drums. I was looking at Bruno Mars differently from that moment on. And I mean, he's just incredible. Like he's such a great
Well, and that's
songwriter. I mean,
so not just songwriter, but right, obviously a singer, a dancer, but also a producer. The songwriter portion, but also he plays multiple instruments. And so, all of this ends up getting kind of watered down because he just becomes this brand that we know as, the name, the voice, and he's incredible for just those things. But obviously his star and talent goes well beyond that. So of course I'm not surprised that he's in the
that
top
Silk Sonic.
5.
Madonna was number 5. Now this is the only one that Pepsi did not sponsor. I want to say like Bridgestone tires did. I think I remember reading it. But she did something with like I think like LMFAO. It says here. Nicki Minaj. I don't even really remember this
You
one. I
know,
don't think I
for
watched.
all of these little appearances, and I think Winston has a good point. He goes, as far as artists lip syncing, right? I know personally that there have been little moments here and there in Super Bowl halftime shows and many, big televised shows where artists will lip sync for either a small portion of a song because they're dancing and it's very high energy, or for maybe an entire song. Or for example, like with rappers, they will just have the backing track very loudly. You know that there's obviously another voice going, but they own it because it's part of the performance style. So, when it comes to what is acceptable, is our, I guess, impression as a culture, as a population, that no one should ever sing to a track or should fully lip sync. What's your opinion?
Oh, I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. Like I understand back. I mean, I've been in the music industry for so long that it's so like old news and just so commonplace in every band. Like rock bands have programming. Like it's no different. Just like, I hear a lot of comments about like autotune. Autotune is just a tool that musicians use to either do some slight corrections or it's a
Right.
style kind of thing. But you'd be surprised to know that a lot of your favorite rock bands, if they've come out past the year 2005, they have a little autotune on those vocals. So they're just, you can't hear it because it's not
Well,
necessarily the
and
T Pain sound
some people, I can't tell you even, right. So as a musician, I can't tell you how many people will leave comments on some of my videos. And they'll be like, "Oh, the auto tune," and actually, there's zero auto tune, but they will think that because there's some kind of
of effect,
EQ, right?
right?
So it gives a kind of a
Or
radio effect,
reverb.
or it does. Yeah, so they'll think that it's some kind of auto tune, which again, I'm not going to run away from, right? That's okay. Right? We have T Pains and we have Kanyes, and everyone's
No,
using
I'm fine
auto
with
tune.
autotune. It's a tool, it's a style. But yeah, no, I don't even own the autotune plugin, so we do not use autotune.
Well,
um,
and even for example, like Ashley Simpson, right? We go back to now it's
oh, I
so
feel so bad for
commonplace,
her.
but back in the day when she was kind of caught lip syncing, man, did her career kind of take a hit for a while? And I mean, did
I
she even
can
really recover from
let
that?
me let me let me let me lip, let me speak on this a little bit. Let me speak on this Ashley Simpson thing. Somebody brought so let me speak on this. This
Uh-oh,
is
he's
one
a
of
fan. This is
No,
this is
no,
definitely
I yeah, yeah. So I'm a fan of Ashley Simpson. You know what I mean? Like I think that the songs like her songs are like really good. Like she had Kenna, she had the Neptunes and Timbaland were writing a lot of her songs. Like there there was fantastic songwriters that were involved in writing those songs. But she got a raw deal because, the problem was she got kind of caught and they just wanted to tear her apart because of her genre. I watched recently an Eminem. If you watch that Eminem performance when he's on there with Rick Rubin and I can't remember what song he performed, that was not live. There's so many artists that have to do it for different reasons. And going back to the Super Bowl, they lip sync a lot of time or they pre-record it because the reverberation off of the stadium and stuff is really hard sometimes for the singers to catch on time. So sometimes they're not used to it and they're singing to like the delayed echo sound, so they'll get off time. So it's that, and it's because it's for TV. So sometimes they'll make exceptions. But if they're completely just faking everything all the time, like, yeah, no, I'm not into that. If they have a backing track that they're using to fill in harmonies and stuff like that, but they're singing live over it and they're doing dancing and they're doing whatever, I don't care about that. If rock bands have synthesizers that are on backing on programming and the drummer's playing to a click track and because they don't have a synth player and they have the synths, I don't care about that. If there's, it's just how it is, and a lot of times people don't even realize they're hearing it. They're just assuming that they're not. So I don't know. It's just how it is.
Oops, sorry, I turned myself off. I totally understand lip syncing for the Super Bowl halftime show. You really can't do a sound check when they rush everything onto the field. Yeah, I think there absolutely are instances where there are portions that are lip synced. I feel like that kind of happened, for a few moments in this last one. Not for the whole thing, but I definitely felt that that was kind of going on for a minute, and it's just kind of a judgment call. I think as a performer that you need to make, because I think no one wants to get caught not singing. Everyone wants to be perceived as a good singer, as a real singer. But, there are times where, a part of the production is to have some backing vocals or to have something on tape. So it's very
I'm
interesting.
always shocked when they are actually doing it live because it feels like such like a common thing known. I just and maybe it's because I'm in the industry and I'm just so just whatever that I just know. So I'm just like, oh, everybody knows this, but I don't know. It's weird when people are surprised. And somebody else brought up Milli Vanilli, and that's a completely different scenario than somebody singing lip syncing on a live performance to their own music.
Right. Well, and also we're going to get into the legal side of Pepsi. Sorry, we're getting a little bit off track. I'm going to hit one more comment really fast. So this one's going back to Super Bowl scandals, the Janet Jackson Timberlake wardrobe malfunction. So that ORKO, I was talking about this when you were in here fixing
Okay.
the light, and just that we watched, a documentary about that, and just how Janet's career really took a
Mm.
nosedive after that, and
They did her
you know,
dirty. They did her dirty.
no,
Like,
and Timberlake himself didn't even come to her rescue. He kind of, he had a
and then
moment where he wasn't
he
looking so
kind of
good.
he kind of threw her a bone and backtracked like this year.
Right.
And when he
A
was
decade later.
when he's after he's already reaped the benefits of everything that come, like he came off unscathed. And I cannot honestly, if you're into music documentaries, I cannot recommend a documentary more to you right now than the Janet Jackson Lifetime 4-part documentary. It is incredible
Yeah,
to see
like
it.
very exclusive footage. Michael is in, watching her and Michael writing a song. It was amazing. So definitely go and
And
check
just
that out. But
watching that struggle, but they do a lot on this and just what she had to go through, and it was just painful to see because but she's my favorite pop artist of all time. Like, could be, she's the best thing to me that, especially growing up as a pop singer, whatever that happened. So, um, I think that, I wish that Timberlake would have stood up for her a little bit more. I think people were just, I mean, you think about it, it's like you think about what goes on now. Like, so we just saw those Billboard Awards, and we saw, what Megan the Stallion is wearing, and we see what goes on now, and it's like now they're wishing for Janet Jackson. You know what I mean? It's people just need to kind of relax. In general, I think when things happen with artists, and Prince would perform all the time with his butt hanging out, and Marilyn Manson did the same thing,
yes,
and nobody was
and
canceled. It's definitely a different
well, I
standard
think
for
I
women.
think it was a little different, right? They wanted to cancel Manson, right? They wanted to cancel him, but it only kind of heightened his star, heightened the free press and his fandom. But guys, let's get back to the baseline of we're
Yes.
talking about NFL and there's the sponsorship deal with Pepsi, right, for the halftime show. So let's talk a little bit about numbers, right? So again, this is what gets me excited when we're doing big numbers, big deals. So Pepsi, of course, having additional brands like Frito-Lay's, Tostitos, all of this is kind of incorporated in the brand deal. And then also the Gatorade company, right? That's a division of PepsiCo. So, as a quick FYI, I guess they're working on a pre-workout Gatorade product that's going to be kind of tested and announced in the fall. It's coming out to the general public next year. I've never gotten into Gatorade just because of like sugar content and worried about, fake coloring and things like that. But obviously
Tastes good frozen.
it works to the degree that it needs to be used. But in any case, as far as the kind of money we're talking about, Pepsi is estimated to have paid $2 billion over the last 10 years of its sponsorship deal. So, we kind of talk about, well, now that this opportunity is back on the market. The last time was obviously a decade ago when Pepsi stepped in. The prior, we'll call it the owner or licensee, was Bridgestone.
Bridgestone,
And
yeah.
Bridgestone had paid between $5 to $10 million to have this sponsorship deal in place for, each year. So 5 to 10 million annually. But obviously we do that because of the incredible exposure, the incredible association on maybe even the ground level with the actual players. So, I'm curious, but let's have a conversation about, they're pulling out as far as the halftime show piece. They're still the brand sponsor otherwise, but they're not going to be involved. And I'm wondering if, because, as the best marketing tactics are changing, right? So we spend time talking about TikTok and the fact that someone can have 100 million views on one TikTok video that just has that reach that goes viral. And you have a brand that's paying, let's say, $2 billion, for a spot when you reach, let's say, 90 to 100 million eyes a year. I think that they're looking at their bottom line and saying, how better can we allocate this money?
No, for sure. And it's a huge expense. But they're still going to be getting, they still get constant exposure. You know what I mean? During the game and stuff like that. They're just not going to be shelling out and all the money and stuff for the halftime spots and all those big ads. But someone's definitely going to step up. It'll continue. And for anybody curious, the number 6 performance was last year's Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J, Kendrick Lamar,
I
number 1
love
record
that
in the country.
performance. I love the performers. I love the setup. I loved everything about it. I thought everyone did
That was a
a
great
really
time.
good job.
It was one of my favorites. My favorite of all time was not in the top 10, is probably the Prince one. But you know, I really liked last year's or this year's, the Dr. Dre and Kendrick and Snoop.
Oh, this is interesting. So, as an entertainment lawyer, how would you advise sports clients on the game-winning "I am going to Disney" Insta moments?
Mhm.
Meaning, what kind of contract options would that look like? Probably both, right? So, what Winston is kind of talking about is that the quarterback who is part of obviously the winning team, they do that kind of
So
trademarked,
we have
contracted. We're going to Disneyland.
well, didn't we watch something? What did we watch? I think it was when we were
Yeah, alright,
watching the
guys, so
Disney
we went
Channel.
on a binge watching thing about, the Disney
We have
different
an answer for
rides,
this.
histories, and we specifically watched a documentary about this, and the fact that this is a long-standing tradition and contractual relationship with the quarterback going to Disneyland the following day after they win, of course, on the winning team, and then, going there with the family, the photo op, they do the festival, and,
But
it's
there's
a huge
but they set
promo
them up
opportunity.
they set them both up ahead of time. So, like, so
Right.
they're ready to go with whoever is gonna do it right away. So,
Right, because think about that, right? You don't know who's gonna win,
you don't make a
but
deal
as
at the
soon
last
as they
minute.
win, and that's why you have the quarterback who's huffing and puffing and out of breath and crying and whatever in that moment, but they just so happen to catch the shot because again, it is pre-planned. They have to get it, and they always do. So very good
So
comment.
everybody's making money. I'm sure, like, they go, "Well, if you don't get it, you're still, we'll still let you and a guest in Disney for on a Tuesday."
Right. Scott, so to be clear, they're not just sponsoring the halftime show, but their brands will still appear with the names of the bowls, Tostita Fiesta Bowl. So yeah, so they are basically still doing their sponsorship deal overall to be associated with the NFL brands, with the
Being in the stands, and, having their products on the sidelines and all that kind of
yeah, and all
stuff.
the recruitment stuff that's done
Yeah,
on the kind of ground level. So you will still see Pepsi, you will still see Gatorade and the other associated brands, but they're not going to be the official
right.
sponsor for the halftime show.
It won't be the
So
dun dun
very good
dun
stuff.
Pepsi halftime show.
That's right. All right, guys, we got another news story for you. Let me pull this up on my end. So, we're jumping into a conversation about Travis Scott and specifically his project Heal. So, we did a video on this a couple of weeks back, and it was a little bit critical of just the fact that he had made this announcement about Heal and
Right.
being this initiative to ultimately try to repair the community for what happened following the
Astroworld.
festival tragedy with Astroworld. And we were just a little bit critical just for simple things. And like for example, he was posting on his Instagram, and what he posted was kind of half-hearted, it seemed, which is a small thing, right? But it was only half-hearted, but it had the wrong information in it, right? So it had the wrong website as far as where to go. It went to some doctor's, website, and so we were just wondering when we had reviewed this, how much did he really care? In that this has been up for like a week at the time that we saw it, and we were just kind of wondering, ultimately the scholarship recipients, right? The applicants of whoever, receives monies that are kind of donated through his organization. Fantastic. Ultimately, it's going to have a positive outcome. And you can't say anything about that. But to the extent that this is being done as a glorified PR stunt to distract from the fact that 10 people lost their lives at a show, and he obviously has this course of conduct of riling up his fans and having kind of,
Right.
violent outbursts at his shows. And that's the culture that he promotes, and to displace that he, really didn't have any blame. Obviously, we
Right.
saw that in the Charlemagne interview
That's
and him
and you
just
know
saying,
what?
I'm being blamed for everything and it's unfair.
That's the part of it that as soon as the Heal initiative was announced, that's the part that when he announced it, it made me feel bad just because I saw the Charlemagne interview. We dissected that. He wasn't I don't think that that was definitely his best performance on that Charlemagne interview. We'll put a link to that somewhere, because you definitely need to see this breakdown on this channel. But he was teasing his bands. He's like, I don't know, like he was pitching products on this thing that should
Wait,
have
in
been
the Charlemagne interview? Is that
in
what
the
you're talking about?
Charlemagne interview. So
Sort of. He was saying we need to have things like potentially wristbands, and we were
no, but
talking
we
about,
we
well,
called
are
it
we gonna
though.
see are we gonna see some kind of announcement about some technology that he's gonna be selling, and now he's
And
gonna kind of
then
benefit indirectly from all of this, and then the announcement
and
came out
then
that he in fact
and
is
then he
doing
came,
that.
and that's why I felt bad. I did not like that. It was, if he had never even mentioned something like that, like as soon as he mentioned it in the interview, I was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And then this came out, so it felt a little disingenuous to me. But that being said, I do definitely support trying, earning, getting money. I know he has given money to schools lately. He just did, huge donation for that.
And I
I
think it was
do
$1
like
million in scholarship money, so it was $10,000 a student for 100 students to help them with their college tuition. He's trying to get some things in place to help,
no problem with that.
youth with, mental health issues. So what we're getting at, and the announcement today is Travis Scott, new Nike drop proceeds to go to Project Heal. So Travis Scott just surprised fans. He did a second Nike drop, right? So we were talking about his shoe launch. So he did a second one, but this time the proceeds, we're being told, again, we're being told, we didn't actually see this anywhere on the website, but we're being told that the collection will help community initiatives important to the rapper. Travis Scott took to his Instagram page on Monday without warning to announce the release of a new TS Air Max One Wheat, as well as a summer collection of short shirts, a bikini, belt, socks, and bag. So yeah, show a little bit of what it is
The
that's in this
shoes are
drop.
all sold out. So this is the Travis Scott website, and on here there's definitely nothing to indicate that money is going anywhere. It's not to say that it's not. I'm just saying that it would be nice to see it on the website, as far as to help people, maybe inspire them to donate more, or you know what I mean, or buy more product. So that's the shoes, but it's also this collection of clothing as well. So I mean, everything is reasonably priced. $45 tees, $95 shorts. I mean, nothing's out of school here.
Yeah.
So but the shoes have sold out.
Yeah, so, all at the end of the day, he's attempting, he's still obviously locked into this lawsuit. There are billions of dollars in damages being sought by the plaintiffs, and so we'll continue to kind of track this. So let's kind of go over to the chat for a minute. If you want to take over or take off the overlays, we can kind
Yeah.
of get into a more general discussion.
Yeah.
All right, so Winston, general question related to an entertainment or to entertainment paparazzi. Do you find TMZ to be a reputable source or more scandalous and Harvey cringeworthy and disingenuous to attorneys? As far as TMZ being reputable, I think it is more than it's not. I think that there's a tendency to kind of pull from TMZ as far as, breaking news, and that a lot of other more reputable, let's say, publications have a tendency to cite to TMZ. So I think that it is acknowledged in the industry, at least as of now, as a reputable news source. What do you think?
I'm more of the, I would say, as reputable as you can be for breaking news, because I
Yeah.
mean, we've seen every major news source from CNN to Fox to, everyone. Everybody has made mistakes on breaking news. Because everyone's just rushing out to get a story, because everybody wants
Yeah.
to get that first click, get those
Yeah.
sightings. So I mean, as much as you can get it right, you know, uh, take it with a grain of salt, everything, of course, the gossip news. But you do find that when they're talking about legal stuff and lawsuits and stuff like that, not just who was seen kissing in a restaurant, but when they're talking about stuff that's legally based or law based, it tends to usually kind of be on the money.
Now, we actually heard, we're not going to do a full update on the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, but we did hear today from a witness on behalf of TMZ, and not really on behalf, but he worked for TMZ at the relevant time, and he was testifying to, some things that were leaked to TMZ. And,
Mm.
they didn't quite get into, was it Amber Heard herself that, sent or had someone send this video, this damaging video of Johnny Depp and these pictures. I think that the attorneys did a good job just to kind of put it out into the universe and allow the jury to come to their own conclusions. But we got to get a little sneak peek about how it works with TMZ. So, as far as, when they get a tip, the TMZ representative was saying, well, often it comes from managers and agents. And as he said, B level actors. So,
Yeah.
I guess B-level celebrities who are just kind of reporting on themselves, I guess. And he says,
Yeah,
you know, so we have a little process we go through to try to verify, right? So we verify the source, and then we have to go through a copyright clearance process, which can take, you know, as little as 15 minutes. And as you guys may not know, when it comes to copyright, whoever made the video owns the copyright. So, for example, if it was in fact Amber Heard who had submitted, you know, a video that she took of Johnny Depp, she owns that video. Now, obviously, she doesn't have the right to use someone else's likeness without their permission, but that was part of the question, right? This anonymous person who had kind of, you know, submitted or does submit to TMZ, and TMZ's responsibility, right, to kind of, you know, fact check. So we heard a little bit about how the process works, and it was very interesting.
it is very interesting. And but again, it's just more of like, the gossipy stuff. Yeah, definitely just kind of, take whatever. But if they're going court filings have been filed and stuff like that, then yeah, no, I tend to believe that stuff. So
Mental health and celebrities. Robin Williams, Naomi Judd, Anthony Bourdain, and other dying by suicide. Is there anything the general public is missing regarding the price of fame? Well, again, you know, not to keep
we were
harping
talking
on
about that
the
earlier.
Johnny Depp, you know, trial here, but we're also hearing about how Johnny Depp has abused drugs and alcohol for a long time. But that's common. That's common for so many celebrities. I mean, we were talking about Chester Bennington, right? And, you know, lost him
Chris
to
Cornell.
suicide. Chris Cornell. And this is something that's very common because I think that, you know, celebrities are thrust into the public light in a very different way and have to deal with different pressures on such a large scale. They don't just get to be depressed and, you know, to go through the waves of life. They have to do it in front of everybody and to be criticized for it. So, you know, I think that mental health issues are just as bad for
I
private
think
citizens
it's
as it is for
yeah.
public ones
I
or
would say it's
celebrities, I should say.
Yeah, I would say it's no different. I think that everybody is always kind of going through stuff. And just because you have money and just because you have notoriety doesn't mean that you aren't still down, doesn't mean that you're not still depressed. Everybody has their own problems. I think that the answer for those things is, learning at an early age, figuring out a way, whether it's through school, whether it's through parenting, but just really being okay with talking to children about their feelings and giving them coping skills to deal with disappointment, to deal with insecurities. Because as humans, we all go through insecurities, we all go through disappointments, we all go through heartbreaks. I know I've definitely gone through my bouts of things, you know what I mean? And so just yeah, I think that just coping skills are just so important, and not being
Well, not even
ashamed
as
to look for
just
help.
not even just, you know, for children, right? So as adults, I think we are all really screwed up in
Right.
different ways. I think we all have to be continuously kind of working. I think we should all go to therapy. You know, I think that to a degree, there's things that have happened in our childhoods or things that happen in our, you know, adult lives that we don't deal with, right? Who has time to deal
Right.
with stuff, sit down and talk through it or
Or
learn,
who wants to be
you know, coping
uncomfortable?
techniques or to be uncomfortable and to acknowledge, you know, dark feelings, negative feelings, you know, but
Shannon
it's
Hoon, absolutely. Blind Melon, for sure. Like, uh, it's just tragic. Just there's everybody goes through stuff. So and I agree, like adults too. But I'm just saying, just from an early age, like learning these things, just like in an early age, everybody should learn about how to pay their taxes and how to do things like in the same way. There's basic kind of human skills that we all kind of need to have. And I don't know. I just like to see more of that because it breaks my heart. Like you mentioned Chester Bennington, and that's one of those that I can't that still affects me so unbelievably deeply that I still have not even been able to listen to Linkin Park with at all. Like it's too difficult. So yeah, it's just tragic.
all right, so maybe on a little bit of a lighter note. So
Bring it up.
I'm gonna bring in really fast. So I said it's the anniversary of
Oh, that's
Top
right.
Music Attorney, the YouTube channel. So I
Yeah.
went back and I grabbed the first official video that we uploaded on this channel. So to be clear, I
Happy
had
anniversary.
been doing happy anniversary. I had been doing these videos on my Miss Crystal YouTube channel, but then I decided to kind of separate it because Miss Crystal is, you know, obviously for my music. And so now we have the new channel, Top Music Attorney. So this is not the first official video. I might go find that while we're talking, but this was the first one on this channel. So I'm
The
going to
Top
bring it
Music
in,
Attorney.
and I think you need to mute yourself just for the first
Okay.
couple seconds while I play
Yeah.
this. So let me bring this in. Okay, so here we go. This video is new record label pitfalls. Avoid these 3 fatal mistakes. Music attorney tells all. Great title. So we changed the cropping of let me go over here. We changed the cropping a little bit so you can see obviously this was a little bit lower at the time. And then also I was sitting. So I was sitting for a lot of these videos, almost all of them. And there's our little intro. The intro has changed a tiny bit. We got
There's
the
some
book
things are the same.
promo. Yeah, but yeah, and I turned it down. I think you should be able to talk and be okay. But
Yeah, you
anyway,
didn't share the audio at all.
okay, perfect. Yeah, so as far as kind of where we started, I used to sit and I got tired of sitting. So now obviously I have like a standing situation. I think if I upgrade even further, I need like a walking desk. I don't know if that's going to work out, so I'm like walking during our live streams. But this was cute. What do you guys think? We had this little, gray background with this
Yeah, no.
cutesy
So
white
we used this
design.
thing for a long time. But yeah, no, like the way that I'm framing you up is
Thank
differently. Like
you.
I'm cutting off your hair at the top. Like the coloring is kind of better now. But I mean, no, I mean we rocked this thing for a long time, and I mean I think you look great still. So I have no problem with happening.
Yeah, and then look, I'm gonna give a quick shout out because we got the book right here. So the book was always, a primary featured part in every video because obviously when it dropped, and this was, a year and a half, 2 years ago, wanted to make sure to promote it. So my book is for independent artists, and it has free contract templates in it, and I'm so proud of it. But I got to tell you guys, there's a section having to do with just health and wellness. And it's something that it is so important to me and my lifestyle. But the thing that's changed since I wrote this book was that at the time I was vegan. And at the time I was promoting it as, just something for people to consider or kind of look into. I'm no longer vegan. So I got to figure out, I got to get an update to that book so I can take out that part because everything else is winning and perfect. But I'm not sure that is representative anymore of my opinions. So in any case, very happy that ORKO. Thank you for being amazing and putting on a great show and putting up with me and my sass. Always
No,
got
it's
the
been
sass.
fun. And it would have been funny though if you did go back to those very, very, very first ones that did not have that background that were very different that we were doing from your other channel, Miss Crystal,
Do you want me to
on
find it really
YouTube.
fast? Do you want to just do it because we're not going to talk about this for at least another year?
Yeah, no,
And
it's
in
pretty.
fact, that'll help me kill a few more minutes so we can. Just give me a sec, guys. I'm gonna find it so you can see like just really where we've come from.
It's
Because
so
I feel that
funny.
that looks pretty good. That's a good looking, video in general.
Do you have autographed copies of your book? Do we even have any of the physical copy books left?
Yep. So you can get the physical copy through Amazon, but if you want it autographed, you just go through misscrystle.com and I will personally autograph your book. I do my own fulfillment for merch items, so you can get that special kind of version through misscrystle.com. All right, so I'm scrolling back in
But I
the
really don't think we have
archive.
very many left.
Yes, no, that's true. I'm trying to move the last unit so that I can hopefully do another rendition and then
Because
take out some stuff.
actually I don't think that you can get it from Amazon. We sold out on Amazon. So I think that he
You
can
know
only
what?
get it.
I think it said there's a couple left. I think it said there's a couple left. Here, do you maybe take a quick look at that. I almost found this video. It's so crazy when I look at. Here, let me show you guys. Let me just show you guys what I'm looking at. So when I go to the Miss Crystal YouTube page, I mean, we did all kinds of like vegan burgers, vegan sloppy joes, my TEDx. Gosh, this was a couple years ago. And then my music videos. And we were just trying a ton of different things. I have a bikini try on haul, and this. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, I think this is it. I think this is the first video. Yikes.
Yeah, that's the guy. There she is. There she is.
All right, so this was the official first me giving a tip video, and look at how much space we put around me. It's very far away.
That
Oh,
was a
this is
different
too
spot
fun.
altogether.
This is too funny. All right, so you got my clothing rack right here, And then this is kind of my little painting station. Obviously, I wasn't doing a lot of painting because why would I have white? That makes no sense. Absolutely nothing on it. But I wanted white on white. We were like, let's make me pop. And then I have my kind of trademarked rhinestoned cello. It has 2,000 rhinestones on it. And this bad boy was featured in my I Don't Cry music video. So if you want to see it better, you can definitely check it out there. It looks like I got to repair something right there. Don't look at that. All right, what was this video? This topic was how to grow your music career, take your music career into your own hands.
Hold on real quick. I just want to be transparent, and here we go. So we have 7 left. I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Oh,
that there's
okay.
7
No,
left,
because
'cause
we
this was-
re-upped and then they sold. So
right.
no, there are.
So check this out though. That's a 5-star Amazon rating on this book.
Oh, you guys are
So-
very nice. You guys are very nice. I'm glad you found it helpful. Yeah, so woo, all right. That's the official anniversary video. Let's see if we do anything different because we started integrating like B-roll stuff. Obviously, I got that ORKO on the show at some point to make more conversational stuff.
I like the hair. It's cute.
I know. So I did it with like a tiny curling iron. Got some nice volume there. Oof. Might need to do it again. That could potentially be overkill for a quick live stream. But alas.
I loved it. That was
Love
fun.
the cello. Thank you, Scott.
That cello is featured in I think maybe a couple music videos of yours at this point.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Tony. So guys, are we going to do this again tomorrow or are we doing it on Friday? What's the plan, Mr. Show Producer?
I think we're doing Friday, but we may do tomorrow if something is really exciting. What do you think?
All right, so guys, just make sure you turn on the notifications for this channel because obviously we don't want you to miss it. But I feel like this was a better time. We've gone live around 5 p.m. PST on previous live streams, and
I'm having more fun.
I feel like this might be a little bit time or a better time in general. And yeah, it's been really cool to kind of dive into some of these stories. And feel free to make any suggestions as well. Come over on social media. So we do a ton of content on Miss KRYSTLE social media, but also Top Music Attorney at Top Music Attorney on all social media platforms. And you guys like my lawyer bits and the clips that we'll do
it's crazy
segments.
They've been coming over to the Instagram. Make sure that if you're not followed on Instagram, it's a new experience. She's been putting a lot of her TikToks on Instagram, and they are so funny. And
yeah, so real quick, so this is Miss KRYSTLE. Let me go over to Top Music Attorney. So Miss KRYSTLE, you get some of my lawyer stuff, but you also will get stuff about my music. So Top Music Attorney recently has been kind of, I don't know if I need to make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Top Music Attorney kind of has been blowing up lately. We're at 21,000 followers, and we gained like I think 10 or 15,000 just in the last month. So we're doing good, and it's because we have a couple videos, guys. If you don't do reels, do reels. Okay, let me just show you the nonsense that's happening, right? So obviously, these are good, 20,000, and then you got this one that's like 300,000. This one, 500,000. Let me show you what this is.
This is actually great. Well, we should maybe we will come back tomorrow and we'll do a whole thing just on this kind of subject because, going with our story yesterday with Halsey's label wants her is putting her new single on hold, waiting for her to create a viral TikTok or something like that. And we were talking about just how important this marketing is, and just since you've started because we weren't crossing the TikToks onto the Top Music Attorney Instagram. We were kind of leaving them separate, and as soon as we started bringing them over, the numbers just went up because Instagram is favoring those reels right now. So
yeah, and it's not just kind of more of the TikToks. Obviously, we'll take clips from these shows, and and someone made a comment earlier about I guess they must have seen this clip about me being a pageant girl. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I share with you guys just because it's an easier kind of fun thing to do. So anyway, good stuff. And then, like I said, with Miss KRYSTLE has some of the lawyerly stuff on it, but I try to keep it separate. My internet's not working. All right, we're not going back, so I guess that's not happening. But in any case, all good stuff. Let's go to the comments one more time. Chat, thank you for being here. You guys are the absolute best. Here we go. What advice would you give your 21-year-old self? Kind of like the reverse time capsule idea.
Yeah, what did
Winston,
you tell yourself last year?
I actually I actually shot something today that I'm going to be releasing probably tomorrow. But I was talking about how to kind of break negative thoughts and a negative thought pattern. And I would say this to myself now, yesterday, last week, and when I was years old. But just, to acknowledge and when you have negative thoughts, don't feel bad about it, but acknowledge them and be mindful of it. And I'm learning that just by simply kind of paying attention to where your mind drifts, and especially if you're saying negative things to yourself, if you acknowledge it and then you combat it and you say something to your brain and you go, brain, stop lying to me. For example, like I didn't do enough today, right? I did all this stuff, but it's not good enough because I'm such a perfectionist and I needed to do this other thing to actually be successful. And I'm such a loser and a failure. So if you have kind of these thoughts, it becomes not only your perspective, but it becomes your lens on life. So when something happens, some little negative thing happens, it's like your whole world is falling apart. It's a reinforcement of that negative belief. And so, anyway, I would just kind of give myself some of the tips that I've picked up, later in life to deal with negative thoughts, to deal with stress, to deal with pain in the ass people, right? Haters. Which, by the way, it has never really been a problem for me, but that goes to my perspective and how powerful it can be when you really are your own cheerleader and you're kind to yourself and you're patient as if you were like an older sister or an older brother.
That and just what you pay attention to, because I mean, if you're not paying attention to it, it can't bother you.
Thank
If you
you.
have your head down, you're just working, you don't even see what's going on around you.
Yeah. So in any case, guys, thank you for being here. Like I said, make sure you subscribe. If you're watching on a different platform, come to Top Music Attorney YouTube. We're going ham on these live streams, and we're going to do this consistently every week. We're just figuring out what that sweet spot is as far as the time, on whether we should do 3 to 5 times a week. But we're really, really focused on building our community here because it's been great releasing a lot of content, but we really want to kind of build our family. So very excited. That ORKO, thank you very much for being here. Yeah,
Follow me on
yeah.
Instagram at that ORKO and make
I
sure
feel
that
like I
you're
have a
following
sneeze
her
coming.
everywhere. Oh my gosh, do it. Oh, do it on camera. Do it on
No,
camera.
no.
Sneeze.
I have this worry that, with these hour live streams that we're doing, there's gonna be something that slips between one of us. And then later on in life when, one of us has something blow up and we're insanely, famous and all of that, someone's gonna go back and find
You're
the
gonna be all
sneeze.
sneeze and you like snot everywhere.
And that's gonna be my that's gonna be
Your
my big
legacy.
viral moment.
So yeah, Top Music Attorney School. If you're ready to learn more.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you'd like to learn, if you're a musician, if you're trying to start a record label, I gotcha. And I also have free courses. Okay. If you want to just learn about contracts and how to be a baddie and negotiate your own deals, I give you all kinds of free courses through that. But obviously, if you want to do more deep dives, we go through that as well because some clients will just call me, right? I'm a real attorney, I have a law office, and that's great. But you can get the information a lot cheaper. And that's why I have these courses because I built my own record label. I am an independent artist. I have to do a lot of this myself, and I always have. And so I'd like to make it easy for you guys. So, in any case, we're going to get out of here, do all the YouTube
Thank you
things,
for
come
being
over to
here.
social media, come see some wildly viral TikToks that don't make any sense, but will make you smile anyway. We love your faces. Thank you very much for being here. We'll see you on the next one. I'm Top Music Attorney, Miss